This was probably the most stressful day as a credit card entrepreneur. Buckle up, get comfortable. First, hit the like button, but get comfortable because I'm about to give you a lot of sauce in this video. I sound solemn right now because it's just been a whirlwind today. I can't believe it. But previously on Noble Credit, yesterday, December 1st, 2024, I applied for the Marriott Bonvoy Boundless credit card as I was under 524. The 524 rule, if you're not familiar with it, basically says with Chase, you can't get approved for more than 5 credit cards within a 24-month period. Within the previous 24 months, I felt like I was under the 524 rule, so I applied. I did not get approved immediately. In fact, I ended up getting denied. All right. And so on that live stream, I let everyone know I will hop back on live tomorrow. That's today. That's December 2nd, 2024. And I will let you guys know how the reconsideration call went or goes. I'm talking from yesterday. So today at 12:30, I started my reconsideration call, which would turn into 4 reconsideration calls total. Technically 5, but that was for a reference number. But 4 reconsideration calls. And I'm going to go through each reconsideration call to let you know what happened, how it happened, and I'm going to give you my take on it because I think this information could actually help people, anybody out there. All right, so to recap my Chase 524 status, in December of 2024, which is now, a bunch of credit cards were supposed to fall off of my credit report. And I thought that they did. Turns out I was right, but I was wrong. All right. Also, I had 2 authorized user credit cards that I thought were supposed to not be on my credit report, and they ended up being on there, or at least one ended up being on there. So I thought I did all the guesswork that I was supposed to do. I thought I did my homework and made sure I wasn't an authorized user on those cards, remove them from my credit report. I thought I did everything I was supposed to do, but apparently Chase said that I did not. All right. That moves us into the first reconsideration phone call. Now, I made this call at 12:30 today. What happened? They said that I was over the 524 rule. That's kind of how they described it. They said I had an American Express card, a US Bank card, a Bank of America card, another Amex card, another Bank of America card, and a Wells Fargo card. Right off the bat, I knew I was going through an uphill battle because when they said a Wells Fargo card, I'm like, yeah, I have a Wells Fargo card, but it's the next month. Like, the Wells Fargo card isn't even supposed to be on your radar, because that card was gotten in November 13th, 2022. So I'm in the 25th month. That shouldn't even be on your radar. So with the Wells Fargo card, it was hit or miss. Some representatives said that Wells Fargo card was on there. Some said it didn't. And it started to get me thinking what was going on here. Moral of the story, these reps don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about. And it's bad enough to have reps that don't know what they're talking about, but then you go to the credit specialist, which is the underwriting, and they don't know what they're talking about. And I was just so perplexed. So that first Chase reconsideration phone call was, and I'll actually explain. Every credit specialist that I spoke with was a female, and because I was on the phone for so long, I actually didn't finish being on the phone until about 4 o'clock because that's how long it just took to wait for reconsideration. one of the things that I noticed, I would get to Chase's reconsideration line, and the initial credit customer service rep would forward me to uh, the credit specialist. And in every situation, one of the things I noticed, and I'm curious to this, why why is it seemed like the entire workforce doing this were minority females. And that's just something that just comes to mind. Like, I that's interesting that the company is set up this way. So whether they Chase outsources things to India or something like that, the majority of the credit analysts were minority females, and that that's just knowledge, right? So you take with that whatever you want. So I noticed that, and I did not have I did not have a good outcome with that first reconsideration call, because I'm asking questions and they're just not able to answer. They're bringing up a Wells Fargo card that isn't even supposed to be mentioned, and I'm just so confused. But I have to be very polite during this entire exchange, because I don't want them. I'm trying to get approved for a credit card here, so I have to be very polite and try to plead my case. But they were not budging. Eventually, I had to concede and I had to hang up. And after I hung up, I called right back, right? And the number for Chase Fox, Chase Fox, and the number for Chase reconsideration is, where is it? The number is, it's in the description, but it's 888-270-2127. So the second call that I made was at 1300. So I made that first call at 12:30. The second call was at 1300, and I waited for 40 minutes. I finally get to a credit specialist. Now this one made a little bit more sense, because they didn't mention a Wells Fargo card. They mentioned an Amex card, uh, a Bank of America card, another Amex card, a Bank of America card, and I don't know another Amex card. And two of those cards were authorized user cards. And so, okay, this makes a little bit more sense. I can work with this slightly, because basically what I wanted them to do was ignore the authorized user cards, because even when I look at the credit report on TransUnion, which is the credit report that they pulled in the state of Maryland, Chase pulled TransUnion for some reason. I guess that's what they're doing. I expected them to ignore the authorized user cards, especially since they were terminated. They've been terminated for months. And I remember asking the specialist, can you see when the last time that card reported? And they were like, yeah, April of 2024. I was like, that means that the card, that it's terminated, it's closed. I'm no longer an authorized user on the account. It shouldn't factor into my 524 status. They were like, we can't make that decision. It has to be the credit bureau. And I'm pulling my hair out at this point, because I'm trying to explain, like, you got to just use your head. If you see on the credit report that the authorized user card hasn't reported since April in 8 months, and the account says terminated, you should ignore that account. That means the 524 rule, I'm good to go. I'm at 424, not 524 or 624. I'm at 424, and she would not budge. And just to give you more information, this credit specialist was a Hispanic woman. And so, continuing along with what I started to notice, minority female credit specialists, and still curious to why that makes up the majority of credit specialists with Chase, because uh, that's just interesting. It should raise some questions when you call a company and the majority of the workforce is one demographic. That should raise a little bit of an eyebrow. If it was all white men, it should be like, well, how is it all white men? Or if it's all black women, why is it all black women? It should raise at least a question. So why is it this way? And so that information allows you to make more informed decisions. See how, because part of why that matters is because as a male, and males should be able to attest to this, but I'll say it anyway. I explained that. I didn't explain that as nice to you guys as I explained it to her. So if I explained that she shouldn't recognize that authorized user card that's been terminated, that's been closed, it's just the credit report isn't recognizing it for some reason. It almost sounds like I'm mansplaining, which is a bad thing. Most of the time, even though I'm just trying to convey information to another person in an explanatory way. It might sound like mansplaining, and that might, result in an unfavorable outcome when I'm trying to get this person to approve me for a credit card through manual underwriting. Now, I don't like that dynamic, because if it's a male on the other end, then it's not seen as mansplaining to be able to do that. And they wouldn't take it that way. I started to notice that these credit specialists, they were hard stance against what I was saying, and I was completely right. Completely right. Let's move on to, so what I ended up doing with that second call is she finally, after every sentence, she would be like, I can give you the TransUnion phone number, you can call them. And I finally was just like, okay, give me the TransUnion phone number and I'll call them. I did end up calling them, but that was unnecessary. What I did was I logged into my TransUnion account, my actual transunion.com account, and I made a dispute. I thought I'd already done this, but apparently I did not. I made a dispute with the 2 American Express accounts that were authorized user cards. And in my dispute, I labeled them, I closed this account, 2 labels. I closed this account was closed. Those were the 2 labels I labeled for both of the accounts. I submitted the dispute because I was like, man, there's nothing that I can do. Submitted the dispute. Less than a second later, it was automatic. They removed them. They deleted them. They deleted them as soon as I pressed submit. Got an email saying your dispute has been complete. And then I relogged in to check my credit report with TransUnion, because they just let you. And at first I was seeing the accounts, and now I didn't. And this was within like a minute of each other. I was like really looking at the accounts, and now I don't see it. And so I'm like, let me call Chase back again and let them know that I just got off the phone with TransUnion. Big mistake. I call again at 14:20. This is 2:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And eventually I get forwarded to a credit specialist for the 3rd time. And this is their workforce. I don't know why. Entirely minority women. And I let the lady know that I just got off the phone with TransUnion, which I did. Technically I did, but I never talked to TransUnion because I was on hold. So I just hung up after a while because I was like, I got this done through the dispute function. And I let them know I just got off the phone with TransUnion, and they updated my credit report, And if you guys just take a look at it right now, it'll be updated. Like it'll not show those 2 authorized user accounts or that 1 authorized user account because they were really only seeing 1 authorized user account that was actually terminated. And she responded, "Oh, it's going to take about 24 hours for us to be able to check to see it. If you just got off the phone, it's going to take." I was like, man, why did I say that? Why did I say that I just got off the phone? Because that gave her ammo to basically not want to work, to not want to do her job, to not want to help me out, get me approved for this car so I can run up a bunch of debt and help your company out, right? That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to get approved for your car so I can run up a bunch of debt so I can continue to pay you guys interest for the rest of my life, right? Why wouldn't you want me to do that? So right then, I knew I made a mistake. And I shouldn't have said that. I should not have come out the gate swinging with, just got off the phone with TransUnion. Because basically every one of these interactions, if you make multiple Chase reconsideration line phone calls for one application, you almost got to treat it like you just applied for the card and this is your first time calling. It can't be like, oh, I just got off the phone with you guys and was working with a credit specialist two or three times and you guys wouldn't. But you can't make it sound like it. It's got to be like, oh, I'm just calling for the first time. This is news to me. Do you guys need any help verifying my account? Like, because it's brand new people every time you call. So that one was on me, not because it was on me because you still got to know your audience. And once I gave her that ammo to be able to say, if you just got off the phone with TransUnion, then your account won't be updated. It usually takes about 24 hours to update. This was a lie. This was a lie. They updated the credit report immediately. And I could not believe that for real. So this woman, again, the third call, minority, black female, this woman mentioned a Wells Fargo card on the credit report. Why is that important? The previous credit specialist, Hispanic lady, she did not mention a Wells Fargo credit card. The first credit specialist, black female, mentioned a Wells Fargo card. Both of the black female credit specialists mentioned a Wells Fargo card that they shouldn't have even brought it up, because I'm in the 25th month for those cards. So that's why I waited until December 1st and not applied on November 1st or November 13th or November 14th, the day after literally 24 months 2 years had passed. So that's why I waited until December 1st. So the Hispanic credit specialist, female credit specialist, did not even mention the Wells Fargo card. But so far, throughout 3 calls, 3 African American, and I can tell I exist. I know what a black woman sounds like. I know what a Hispanic woman sounds like. I know what a white male sounds like. I know what a Hispanic male sounds like. All right. So that is interesting that they kept mentioning a card that they should have even mentioned within the calculation. So either I was wrong or they changed some way that they were calculating. But I'll digress for a second on that. And I'll move on to basically I gave her too much ammo. I came out swinging with just got off the phone with TransUnion. Shouldn't have even done that. Should have just handled it like I did on the 4th phone call. So the 4th phone call is where some good news comes in. This is the first male that answered the phone, but it wasn't a credit specialist. So Hispanic male answers. Again, every employee, why is every employee a minority? That is interesting. Not that there's a problem with minorities at all. It's just interesting to understand like the diversity in hiring. So Hispanic male answers to forward me, but the Hispanic male that answered, basically this is like the frontline rep that forwards you to the credit specialist. He was more knowledgeable than anybody who I've talked to thus far. Everyone who I've talked to thus far, not as knowledgeable as this guy. And I was like, man, I wish this guy was a credit specialist because he actually knows what he's talking about. So from this guy, I ended up getting the reference number because I thought that this was going to be important for the future. So the reference number for the application was important because my plan was to be approved for the Bonvoy Boundless credit card, but I wanted to apply for the Bonvoy Bountiful next. Behind me making noise. I wanted to apply for the Bonvoy Bountiful next. And if it was the case that I had those two applications pending for some reason, I wanted to be able to reference one application so that they don't take my social security number and go, oh, you got two applications. No, one application, but do that through having a reference number. So I finally got the reference number, which I actually would turn out to not need. So he forwards me over to the credit specialist, and he was actually pretty helpful. And the credit specialist this time was Hispanic, so another minority female. And this is when things started to go my way. I may have figured out some formula to speaking that got me where I needed to go. But the important thing that I really did was make that dispute with TransUnion within that previous hour and view my credit report and see that they have removed the authorized user cards. That's the authorized user cards that were gotten within the past 24 months that I terminated, that I basically closed myself as an authorized user. That is when this is when things started to turn for me, because I'm on with my fourth credit specialist at this point, and she says she sees, as far as my 524 says, she says she sees a U.S. Bank credit card, a Bank of America credit card, 2 American Express credit cards, and another Bank of America credit card. The 2 Bank of America credit cards, understandable. The U.S. Bank credit card, understandable. That's 3. 1 American Express card is understandable. That's my Hilton Aspire from 2023, July 2023. But 1 American Express card, that shouldn't be on the credit report. So I started asking the right questions, even though I was asking the right questions previously. Started asking more of the right questions. I asked, when does that American Express card, because she mentioned the American Express cards by the date that they were applied for or that they were open. And I asked, when does it show that American Express card last reported to the credit bureau? And she goes, April 2024. I said, oh, okay, I know what happened. I got to basically play dumb. Oh, I know what happened. That credit card, it should have a status that says terminated. I no longer have that account anymore because I closed it a long time ago. So it shouldn't really count against me. So I can see that's probably the reason why I was denied. And she was like, no, I think that's because the credit bureau trails off. I'm like, hold on a second. Why do you think that that card hasn't reported to the credit bureaus in 8 months? And this is where I kind of got her. I got the previous specialist with that question, but they didn't let me. They didn't let me guide them. For some reason, she let me guide her. She said, I don't know. So you're saying that this account was closed? Yeah. So I closed that account a long time ago. It's just the credit bureau isn't showing that it's closed. It's just calling it terminated for some reason, not closed. But that shouldn't be an issue why I can't get approved for this card. It's clearly not a card that I still have. And so that's when she put me on hold. She put me on hold because she had to ask someone else a question on what to do in order to handle this close authorized user card. And so I wait on hold for about 5 minutes. She comes back and she lets me know, hey, thanks for waiting. Still trying to get your question answered. I go, no, take your time. And I get back on hold. And she comes back and she says, this is what she says. She says, about that authorized user credit card, you are correct. That should not count against you as it is considered terminated and or closed. So she put me on hold again because she had to review my credit report. And this was the only reason that I got denied. It wasn't because of a credit score. It was because of the 524 rule. That was the only reason that I got denied. And she comes back off hold and she goes, what's this TH Orion? I'm like, yeah, that's a mortgage. She's like, a HELOC? I was like, yeah, mortgage. And then she puts me on hold again. And I'm like, why did I say that? TH Orion is not a HELOC. That's a mortgage. But I know what she meant because she was thinking about my other account that it was actually a HELOC. And she just missed it. So this is like factoring into her calculation for how much credit limit she's trying to give me. She's trying to figure out debt to income ratio and things like that. So when she comes back off of hold, I say, you asked if that TH Orion was a mortgage or was a HELOC. I said it was a mortgage, and you asked if it was a HELOC. I said, yeah, that was a mistake. That is a mortgage. And she said, okay, thank you for clarifying that. And she puts me on hold again. And then she comes back off hold and she asks me some income verification questions. And I'm like, thank God. Thank God. I know I'm in the clear here, but I still got to give her my income. I give her my income. And then she asks about my mortgage payment. I give her my mortgage payment. And I give her the full mortgage payment because normally I give a partial mortgage payment because I'm like, oh, I live in a house with 2 people and I pay this. And that's what I normally do. But I give it a full one because last time I asked Chase for a credit limit increase and I called Reconsideration line because they didn't give me the credit limit increase. And this was a big mistake. This is one of the dumbest things that I've done in this credit journey was try to ask Chase for this credit limit increase, which actually, that wasn't one of the dumb. It actually helped me at the end. But they started getting to the weeds. They started asking, you said for your mortgage payment, you only have this amount, but I see from your credit report, you have all these mortgages. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, you got me on that one. But, for this instance, well, back then I found a way out of it, but for this instance, I go, I say my actual mortgage payment for one of my mortgages and like my most expensive mortgage, the house that I live in. And then she puts me on hold and she comes back again and she came back and asked, which account did I want to close? I'm like, what? Which account do I want to close? I never talked about closing any accounts. She was like, well, your Chase exposure is up there, so you're gonna have to either close an account or move some credit limit around. We're talking about closing accounts. These credit specialists, mind-boggling. Move some credit around. She says, well, you don't use this Hyatt credit card. Hyatt credit card had like 10 G's on it. 10 G's as in 10 G's of credit limit, not 10 G's of spend. You don't use this Hyatt credit card very much. That card gets no burn. So you could take some limit from there as, okay. Can we just move some credit limit from that Hyatt credit card onto the new card? And she said, yeah. And then she asked me, would $5K be adequate? I say, yeah, $5K, that would be just perfect. And She put me back on hold, and then she comes back and she approved me for $5K for the Bonvoy Boundless, and I got an email immediately when she said it. Oh, happy day. By this time, it was like 4 o'clock. So I had been on the phone from 12:30 until 4 o'clock messing around with 4 Chase Reconsideration line phone calls, all to get this Marriott Bonvoy Boundless, but that's not all. That's not all. Remember what I said? Remember what happened? I applied yesterday for the Marriott Bonvoy Boundless, and they sent me to review because of the Chase 524 rule. So, remember, I made a dispute today with TransUnion and got an authorized user card, 2 authorized user cards that were terminated but still showing up on my credit report for some reason. I got those removed instantly, like that. And so what I did was, my plan yesterday was to apply for the Marriott Bonvoy Balance credit card and then apply for the Marriott Bonvoy Bountiful credit card so that I can basically get approved for the Bonvoy Bountiful at 524. Did that work out? It kind of worked out. Let me explain. So with the Bonvoy Bountiful credit card, I applied for it outright. Basically, when I got off the phone, I collected my brain. I gave myself a high five, congratulated myself for not giving up and not letting these credit specialists bully me into not getting this Marriott Bonvoy Boundless credit card because I needed it. Because this was basically my last stand. This was it. Like, I can't get any more. Let me show you guys what the account looks like. Where am I? This is what my Chase account looks like. 9 credit cards. I can't get any more. I have an ISG, 3 Sapphire Reserves, a Ritz-Carlton, a United Club, a Hyatt, and then the Bonvoy Boundless and the Bonvoy Bountiful. Because I just gave it away. So I applied for the Bonvoy Bountiful and I got approved off rip. So when the specialist let me know that I got approved for the Bonvoy Boundless, and they gave me $5K, in my head I'm thinking the only reason why I'm getting the Bonvoy Boundless is so that I can upgrade it to a Chase Ritz-Carlton card within a year's time. But I need $10,000 worth of credit limit on that. Because they didn't give me $10,000, in my head I'm thinking, okay, I have $18,000 on that United card still. I can allocate some credit limit there. And so I can take $5K from the United card and add it, and then I can be able to upgrade it. That's what I was thinking. But then I was also thinking, but combined with all my other cards, I don't have a way to get, let's say the same thing happened again that happened with the Bonvoy Balance happens with the Bonvoy Bountiful. I don't have a way to get the $10,000 that I'm going to need to upgrade it to a Chase Ritz-Carlton credit card in a year's time. And when I do that upgrade, it'll be on December 3rd of 2025, and I'll get the Ritz-Carlton card, and then I'll be able to double dip the $300 travel credit for December and then January because it's a calendar year benefit. And so I wouldn't have enough for the Bonvoy Bountiful. That's what I thought if I had to go through this again. So I was like, man, I'm just going to have to figure something out. So I applied for the Bonvoy Bountiful and I pressed submit. And lo and behold, they do another hard pull. But at this point, I could care less about a hard pull. Like, I don't have anything coming up. This is it for me. This is it. I've done everything that I was supposed to do. I got every card that I was supposed to get. I did what was maximally allowable for me to do. And I got approved for the Bonvoy Bountiful. But here's the catch. They wouldn't allow me to get... They said I wasn't eligible for the sign-up bonus for the Bonvoy Bountiful, which is spend $4,000 in 3 months and you get 85,000 points for Marriott points for it. So they said I was ineligible right before I clicked the submit button. I thought that was weird. And it gave the reason why. They said because you have either a Starwood Preferred credit card or you have a American Express Marriott credit card. I was like, really? Star Preferred? Bro, like, okay. American Express Marriott card? Sure, young. But Star Preferred, get out of here. All right, that's fine. Because I wasn't really tripping about the sign-up bonus for the Marriott Bonvoy Bountiful anyway, especially since it's 85,000 points. You know, the Bonvoy, I'm glad I'm getting the Boundless's sign-up bonus because that's 50,000 point free night certificates. I'm definitely going to use that. That 85,000 points free night certificate, that 85,000 point sign-up bonus for the Bountiful, it's useful, but it's not as useful as those 3 nights. Especially for my use case, I plan on using at least one of those in the coming months. So we'll knock out this $3,000 sign-up bonus relatively quickly. But I have plans for that. And then, on the back end for the Boundless, you'll get the 50,000 point free night certificate at the anniversary. And it's when I did that previously, I upgraded the card right then and there. So I like how that occurred last time back in like 2021, 2022 when I got approved for the Boundless, and then I got the free night certificate on the back end, and then I upgraded it to the Ritz like the same day, and I got to keep that certificate. That was nice. You don't get the Ritz until the next year, unfortunately, but that's how it is when you're trying to future-proof this credit card setup. So back to this Bonvoy Bountiful. Got approved for the Bonvoy Bountiful, and the credit limit like 15K. And I was like, man, now I don't even have to worry about allocating credit limit, moving credit limit from here to here. It's like, think about it. That credit specialist spent all that time on the phone with me trying to figure out, ooh, you're overexposed. And then the automated system gives me 15,000. Come on now. Can't make it up. Cannot make this up. So while I'm not eligible for the sign-up bonus for the Bountiful, that's fine. I'm fine with that. The card, like these cards, I would get these cards without a sign-up bonus anyway, because the most important thing is so I can upgrade them to a Ritz. That's it. So I got 2 new cards today, but there's more. So remember, this is my last stand. I gotta go out basically with a blaze of glory. I gotta go out like a champ. So in my video previously on Noble Credit, I told you I would be applying for the US Bank SkyPass credit card and SkyPass Visa Select credit card, and also the US Bank Business Platinum credit card. Now, the reason I gave the reasons for the US Bank SkyPass, that's because it's not really a known credit card. Yeah, it's Korean Air, but I wasn't even planning on getting the sign-up bonus for the card because the points are Korean Air miles, and I really can't think of a time in the near future where I'll be able to even use those miles. So likely to not get the sign-up bonus. So I did apply, but let me get to the US Bank Business Platinum card. US Bank Business Platinum card is, I hope I get approved for this. I already applied for it. I hope I get approved for this. But that's like the best balance transfer card on the market. And it's not really that close. The closest that you can get to a better balance transfer card is the card that I already have, the US Bank Business Triple Cash. All right, so one of the things that you got to realize about this credit game is like, yeah, travel is great and everything. But if you want to do some really interesting things with credit, sometimes you're going to need some business credit cards to help with that. I'll explain more about that. I have balance transfer videos where I talk about this, but basically the example that I used yesterday, let's say you have a car and you owe, let's say $8,000 on it for the last 2 years, 3 years of your car note. And you're like, I can pay that $8,000 off in a year, but I'm still going to be paying interest if I make those payments now on this car loan. Well, how about this? Use a balance transfer check from a business credit card like the US Bank Triple Cash or the US Bank Business Cash. Pay yourself from your checking account, pay the car off $8,000. Now it's on this car. You paid a small balance transfer fee of like 3 or 5%. That's going to be less than the interest that you would have paid on that card. This is just an example. And now you pay it off within a year like you were, but now you didn't have to pay the interest. If you think about it from that perspective, very powerful tool. Very powerful tool indeed. And so you need to increase your capital, your ability to access funds, and business credit cards are a good way to do it. But especially the US Bank business credit cards, those no annual fee US Bank business credit cards, they are a fantastic way to do it. So it's not just about, shilling these travel credit cards, which, I think you should obviously get travel credit cards. If you want the Bonvoy Boundless credit card, you want to apply for it right now, the floodgates are open. If you think the floodgates are open, fine, use my link. It's in the description box right now. But that's the reason for the business platinum. Now, before I applied for the business platinum and the US Bank business or the US Bank SkyPass Korean Air Select or SkyPass Select credit card, I applied for the Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite. Try to get my third Premium Rewards Elite. And I'll just make this short and sweet. They gave me a denial. Actually, yeah, they gave me a denial. I called Reconsideration line again. Now, I'm already Reconsideration lined out. I called Reconsideration line again for the Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite. And they said, basically, you have too much credit limit with us. You're at a good credit limit for us, and we're good with you there. You know what? I wasn't going to argue this one. This wasn't like the 524 rule where I had to argue that for against Chase. This was different. So I let that one be. So you know what? I can't get the Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite again. That's fine. Guess who can? Player 2. Player 2 got her very first Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite today. And yes, we get to now, once we get the car, we get to double dip the $300 travel credit. We get to double dip the $150 lifestyle credit. We get to double dip on this card. $300 travel credit now in the month of December, and then do it again in the month of January. It's a calendar year benefit, not a card member year benefit. So, yeah, we're coming out like bandits on these things. Annual fees waived. Now, what happened with the SkyPass credit card? This is how it works with US Bank. US Bank doesn't approve me ever for anything immediately. And I don't necessarily need to call Recon. I checked my previous emails from US Bank regarding, like, did I get approved immediately? Because I have 2 US Bank Altitude Reserves, which you can't apply for anymore. And then I have the US Bank Business Triple Cash. And I checked all of them, and none of them were approved on the first time. But what happened? Either the next day, the next business day, or within the next week, I get an email, you've been approved. Congratulations on your new card. So this isn't a situation where I really got to worry about. And even if I didn't get approved for this card, I'm fine with that. I would want to know why, but I'm fine. But I'm like 80% sure I'm going to get approved for it. Like, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and see an email, because that's just how US Bank is. They just don't approve you on the first time for things for some reason. I don't know why. But the important thing about that SkyPass credit card is $200 travel credit. That's pretty much it. KAO Lounge, sure. Don't know when I'll really be in one of those, but hey, that'll be nice. But the $200 travel credit just adds to the stack. And then the same thing with the US Bank Business Platinum. Yeah. Pending. I expect to be approved within the coming days. Hopefully a relatively large credit limit. I use my EIN to apply for that, my employer identification number, because I am running a business here. If you didn't know, welcome to the channel. It's Noble Credit. Hit the like button. This is a business. So yeah, good news today. Had to call Chase Reconsideration line 4 times. 4 times. And we got approved for that boundless, man. If at first you don't succeed, pick the phone up and try again. Because imagine if I had just given up on that third one. Bruh, like, never give up on this, especially when you know you're right. Like, I felt like they was just gaslighting me. Like, they just wanted. Any of you ever seen the movie Anger Management? I feel like my life is like that movie in real life, because I'm just being like super cool about everything and people are just acting like I'm not. And I'm like, I'm not. Like, that card is off. That card shouldn't even come into your vocabulary. Talking about a Wells Fargo credit card. This is the 25th month. Like, that card shouldn't have even registered for you. How come you're talking about it, but this other specialist isn't talking about it? How come this specialist didn't mention the Wells Fargo card at all, and you two did? Like, explain that part to me. It's like, these people don't know. They don't know their jobs. They don't know what they're doing. I gotta call Chase Reconsideration line to teach you how to do your job. But this is why I've been doing this for years. Like, if I didn't have these types of stories, if I didn't have these types of moments where I just, go into the jungle and I come out on top, like how would I be able to help others, do the same thing? Tell others not to give up. Try again. So, let me take a look at the chat. All right. So Devo asks, can you still use a United Travel Bank hack with the Hilton Aspire? Yes. Jesus advises doing $50 transactions though. Yeah, but that's just how it's done. Like, you have to do it every quarter, $50 transactions, because you get $50 per quarter. So every quarter, basically October 1st, I did my last load up for the United Travel Bank hack with my Hilton Aspires, and I have 3. Player 2 has 3, so that's $300 every quarter that we load up. Not how it used to be. It used to be a $250 travel credit, but when they changed that to a $400 travel credit, and they just made it, they changed it to. Sorry, it used to be a $250 travel credit, but then they changed it to just a $200 travel credit. Excuse me. All right. Jesus says, actually, that's how it has to be done now that the credit is given out quarterly. Yep. Davil says, that Ritz-Carlton is my holy grail. It got me feeling like Big Meech, Larry Hoover. Hey. Adam E says, does anyone know if the United Travel Bank works for the Ritz too? Adam, I have a video on that. Just Google Noble Credit United Chase Ritz-Carlton call. I actually have the video where I call the number on the back of the Ritz-Carlton card and do the hack, like, in real time. You gotta YouTube it. Did I say Google? I meant YouTube. Its cat goes, whoa. What had happened? Yeah, so it got approved. So if you're interested in getting approved for Bonvoy Boundless or Bonvoy Bountiful, I got them. I got links for those. Does anyone have any questions about anything that I talked about today? Because this was a lot, and this was a super stressful day, but we got through it. I fully expect to get approved for those 2 United or US Bank credit cards in the coming days, probably tomorrow. And those are my last credit cards. That's it. That's it. There is no more credit cards. There is no more getting any Chase credit cards. Why? Because I've reached basically a limit with Chase. I'm overexposed, or I'm um my risk exposure is too high. Not because I'm about to get shut down or anything. It's just it's too high. So there is no more getting Chase cards. There is no more in 2 years' time. Oh, there's this cool Chase card that I got to get. There's none of that. I already have the setup that I need. I got 2 Bonvoy credit cards. Well, I got 3 Marriott credit cards total, but I got 2 Bonvoy credit cards. I got a Hyatt credit card. I got an IHG credit card. I got enough hotel nights, and then combine that with what player 2 has. We're good. We are good. Call Me Lonnie says, "What's good? What's good? What's good? We. This was a win. This was a win today. Major win. But yeah, if there are no more questions, I'm gonna take my leave. I'm gonna take the night, make some videos, make some shorts out of some of this, because there's probably some good stuff in here, some good content within these last 2 live streams. But yeah, let me know what you thought about my 4 Chase Reconsideration line phone calls. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for more of these videos. Basically, I've made it to the end, and I also know enough to be able to help people with their credit card wants, needs, issues, whatever it is you need. I know enough to be able to help you out. So that's why I'm here. So I'm here for you guys. Thanks for listening. And until next time, peace.